All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice.
Who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Black cars, black on black, black bras. Whole lot of money in a black bag, black strap, you know what that's for.
Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Yeah, who gon' stop me? No brakes, I need State Farm. So many work. I need 8 arms, 1 neck, but got 8 charms. Who gon' stop me, huh?
Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Minds. We're here today with Jordan Brooks, Tyler Simmons, a special guest, Connor McConnell, Mr.37 himself. He plays for UMB. Tyler, what are your thoughts today on having such a high-level guest come and join us?
I'm excited to hear from him because I just heard stories about how good of a player he is. I might have got to watch him once or twice, but I wasn't sure who he was at the time. But it's going to be interesting to hear stories from him and how he felt playing in those big games.
Yeah, see, the first time I heard of him, Brooks is like, man, check this guy Connor out. He's just like Colt Mark. He's one of the boys. He's good shit. Like, check him out, watch him play. And I think I texted him. I was like, dude, Connor's sick. He's nasty. So we're all pretty pumped to have Connor on today. And, yeah, Brooks is back with us. So
Yes, sir.
About time.
About time.
Yes, sir. I know everyone missed me, so.
Oh, it's true, man. We had to cut you in the last episode, so it's always nice to get a good chat in, a conversation with the boys. So,
Amen.
Brooks, do you want to just give a little leeway on your and Connor's friendship? Being one of the OGs at and alumni at UMB.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'll just start by saying the first time I guess I would have seen Connor, he was just a young fella, and it was actually Mark White, the legend himself, who showed me Connor, and Connor was in grade 9 at the time, and I remember he's still in my phone, as Connor Crosby because I thought he looked like Sidney Crosby.
It's a little taller.
So I remember Connor came up to Mark and asked when the Francophone Games tryouts were, because I think they were trying to get Mark to coach it at the time, and Mark told him, and then he walked away, and I was helping Mark with his high school team or 16U team at the time, and Mark said, he's like, Brooks, that guy's going to be the next big thing. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, he's a stick. He was kind of like a little shy coming up and talking to us, and sure enough, it wasn't maybe 1 year later, we had a scrimmage in the summer for UMB, and they brought Connor out, and he was already holding his own with us, so I was like, my respect for Mark's identification of talent went way up, even though it was already pretty high. And I realized, too, that Connor was the next big thing. And just like you said, Robbie, one thing that I always loved about him was that he was someone that not only was he a good volleyball player, but someone I actually got along with and could vibe with. And, you know, it's nice to play with a great player, but it's so much better when it's one of the boys. So we called them road dogs while at UMB. So Connor fell right into that right from the get-go, and his career's been just as good as what anyone would expect.
Nice.
Yeah. So just touching on that, the reason he gets the name Mr.37, there's a 5-setter this year that Connor had 37 kills, which is huge.
My question for Connor is, what was going through your mind during that game?
Oh, man. I guess pretty much the same thing going through my mind most games, but this year especially, Coach really put it on me to just be as aggressive as possible. Every time I try to do something fancy, try to roll a roll shot in, he'd keep telling me, that's not the kind of player you are. You got to go up there, bang high, and that's what I started doing, and 37 kills worked out.
Yeah, and that switch from the left, because you played left side your first few years.
Yeah,
and
I played left side
to the
my
right.
whole career. I played left side since grade 9 all the way into this year.
That's wild. What were your thoughts when you first
half of
got
last? Yeah, I started playing right side half of last year, and just kept rolling with it this year. And honestly, like last year was such a big change, but I really embraced my role this year of just blocking and hitting, and it worked out really well. I mean,
I can add.
probably
I
the
can.
best season of my career for sure.
I can add on that too. I remember when I asked Connor, and another reason why I do have a lot of respect is I remember asking him about the switch because the switch was actually with there's a rookie now, Thomas from Truro, who's a lefty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not only did you play right side as a right-hander, but you guys decided to put a lefty on the left side. And I remember thinking myself, without actually having seen it, I was like, isn't that a little bit weird? And you were actually all for it. You were like, no, it's working out. Thomas is doing great, and I'm enjoying my role on the right. And I do agree that I think having to just focus on those two big things it makes it so much easier, especially because when you were on the left side, every single team in the country would serve you every single ball because they wanted to take you out, right?
Yeah. No,
So
that's
what do you like more, left side or right side? Now that you played both.
I like both, honestly. Like I always loved passing, but I was always a big target
yeah.
when I was on serve receive. But honestly, like yeah, both are pretty even. I like the right side just because, you can go up there, be big. You got a couple big focuses. You focus on hitting, you focus on blocking, and serve and defense. But just not being in that serve receive takes a lot off your mind, and I feel like coach didn't realize that. And because even last year, like I wasn't the first choice to be switched to right side. He put Eduardo on the right side before me. He tried
Nick
to
Lynn.
put everybody on the right side before me.
Yeah.
And then once he put me on the right side, we had a good couple games. I had a good couple games, and
Started eating.
it really started rolling. And I mean, whatever works best for the team.
Amen.
At this point in time, that's what we needed. So I had to grow into that role. Like especially last year, I was a bit hesitant, to accept the change because I really wanted to play left side. I want to touch every single ball.
Yeah.
Passing. I knew I was getting served, so I had the opportunity to kind of control the first contact. But embrace the change, and that's what I did this year. And
yeah, that's awesome that you were open to a change to help the team because that bumps you up. Now you're second in the country in kills.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is huge, which is crazy.
That's a mature answer to give too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to swallow that pill at first when you have to make a change that's better for the team, but you seem to have embraced it right from the get-go. So
Thomas is a legit first year. When he came in swinging, he's a good player, man. He's smooth for a lefty on the left. Yeah. So one other thing we're going to talk about, we're going to talk a bit about your UNB experience later on, but we're going to get in on the junior national experience, how it was being coached by Ben Joe and Dan Oda. Brooks, Tyler, and I'm a huge fan of Ben Joe. Anything Ben Joe tries, I'll try it. If it works,
Amen.
It works. If not,
and I'm a big fan of Dan Oda.
Yeah, and they're both super smart technical coaches. So kind of want to hear about how it was being coached by two of like the goats in men's volleyball.
Yeah, it was for the youth national team.
Yeah.
Youth national, and honestly, it was an amazing experience. Like just being able to go out there and to compete with some of the best players in the country, play with some of the best players in the country at that time was amazing, and being coached by some of the best coaches in the country. Like the technical aspects of those coaches were so developed, and it was something I've never seen before, right? So I was just absorbing all of this knowledge, and especially coming back to UNB after that, I had a completely different mindset of how to play the game, how to pass. The way I saw the floor was so much different, just because of the way they would explain their drills, and we worked a lot with. I know Dan Oda does this with the TVs and like the delayed videos after drill. You can go see what you did right, what you did wrong. Just really reinforcing that technical side of things.
Yeah, that's huge. Like you can tell a player, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. But if they can walk over and see, oh, that looks stupid, I'm doing that. All right, I'll try to change it.
You believe it once you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like Ben Joe was he was a really good coach, but he really connected with you as a person as well. I remember one thing I'll never forget is we were in a tournament in Florida. We lost in the finals, and Ben Joe really took the time to sit with while we were stretching. He had an individual conversation with every single player on the team. Probably lasted 5 minutes each, talking, what do you think you did right? What do you think you did wrong? What you think you could have done? What he thinks you could have done? Just to really make you think about the game and what happened, and really make you kind of process what was going on in the game and what you could change to better yourself as an athlete, I guess. But that really stuck with me, and it was really something that was like, damn, this guy knows how to coach volleyball, but he's also like, he's got you on a personal level too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of huge to like be able to connect with people and be able to relate to them as a coach instead of just being this person that people are either scared of or, don't respect as much. But yeah, it's sweet to be able to like have a connection with someone, and maybe you guys watch the same show, but he's still like connecting with you on something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're starting to get into coaching now. What are the like 2 things you're going to steal from those 2 coaches?
From how important it is to perform certain skills, especially passing and blocking. I got that from Oda.
Yeah.
When he kind of broke down and kind of re-taught me how to pass. Like on the technical side of things, those 3 things that he said that I'm always going to remember as like fundamental keys to passing is the angle of your platform, if you're balanced, and if it's hitting your sweet spot. And after
the sweet spot.
And after every pass, he would ask you, out of those 3 cues, what are the things that you did, what you didn't do? Oh, I was off balance. That's why I went over there. Oh, my angle wasn't towards the setter. That's why the ball went to the right. Oh, I didn't hit my sweet spot. That's why I jacked right back up. So that's definitely one thing that stuck with me, and then I'm going to keep coaching to all the players that I end up coaching throughout the years. Ben Joe is just, like I said earlier, the connection with the players and the culture. Like he's close to you, but he'll tell you what you're not doing right. He'll tell you what you're doing wrong. And like I was a starter on that team until probably I'd say halfway through the tournament. I got subbed off. He came to me. He said, Connor, like I can't start you anymore because your blocking isn't good enough. Straight up.
It's nice that he tells you that thing.
Because your blocking's not good enough. Just like that.
Now look at you beasting on the right.
Exactly. And that's one thing I really respected from him. He's like, he's not scared to tell you what you're doing wrong. And that's something that really helped me. And now I consider blocking one of the best, like parts of my game. Just
100%.
Because I knew the reason I wasn't starting on that team is because I wasn't a good blocker. I'm going to become a good blocker.
Yeah. One thing I could say, and I'm sure you'll agree, Connor, is the things you said about those 2 coaches. They both coach in our league in U Sport. Dan in the AUS or RSEC, I guess now, and Ben Joe and Cam West. And all those things you said about those guys, if you look at the teams that they're coaching, like Otis teams, Dow, regardless of what they have in terms of players or just their personnel, they always have such crisp block defense, and they can pass the ball. Awesome. You know what I mean? Like all his teams can always do that. Doesn't matter who he has out there, they're still doing it well. And then if you look at the Trinity teams, not only are they the best team in the country just about every year, but you can see that culture and that connection. So it seems like that's something that they continue when they have
how much they enjoy playing for Ben Joe.
Yeah.
And they were the best team in North America this year. Right.
Yeah.
So now we'll get into the big UMB and kind of your decision. You had a couple offers to go somewhere else, and you chose to stay home at UMB. Do you want to talk a bit about that process and kind of what your thoughts were?
So I first started practicing with UNB, I'd say grade 10. Grade 10, I'd be going to summer scrimmages, playing with the boys, and like even at such a young age, I already felt like going in grade 11, grade 12, I was kind of already part of the squad, I guess you could say. But yeah, so one of the big reasons definitely that I decided to stay at UMB instead of going away is the guys, right? I really loved the boys who were on the team, and I really, connected with them, and we had the same interests, and they were all about winning. Winning was big, and I like to win as well. So it wasn't that hard of a decision, but a lot of people ask me like if I could have went somewhere else, would you? I'd say no. Like I don't regret my decision at all. I've made friends that'll last me a lifetime here. Memories that'll last me a lifetime. Won championships here. Hopefully win another one next year. But no, yeah, like financially, it was also probably my best choice staying in here in Fredericton, and it was just nice to be like from your hometown, playing for your hometown university. There's something about it.
Yeah, Fredericton gets that a lot. I feel that like a lot of like the guns from Fredericton, like, they're Reds.
100%.
Yeah.
I was gonna add on that. If you look, like Connor's, he's not the first one in that position that decided to go there. Like it seems every 2 or 3 years there's this huge player that's coming up that really has not their pick of programs, but they have some options, and they almost always seem to stay. And that's one thing I will say, that you mentioned how you already felt part of the team. I think Dan does do a good job of when he sees that talented guy from Fredericton, he kind of he brings you in there and has you around as much as possible. And then the guys always, like, we try to do our best, and I think Connor, you would do the same, like to just really just treat them like they're already a teammate. And I think Dan does do a good job at making you almost feel like this has to be it. Like, why would I ever go anywhere else?
What other schools were after you, Connor?
I had Dal. There was I really considered actually Limoilou in Quebec.
Okay.
U of A.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Trying to think now. I think that was mostly it. U of A, Limoilou, Dal, and UNB were the 4 kind of big.
And I'm sure too, like just about anybody, and I say this to kids I coach now, like if you reach out to schools, a lot of times they'll do their research and then they'll be interested. I'm sure that list would have been much longer had you done that.
Right? I didn't really make a highlight tape and send it out. I just kind of played my high school years and kind of saw what came towards me.
Just waited to see.
Waited to see. Yeah, that's huge. One thing I want to touch on about.
And UBCO. That's another one.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn, yeah, a bunch of good schools. One thing I want to touch on, I've noticed from being someone who hadn't been part of the Reds, but then you go and you meet like all the UMB guys. They're all like sweet dudes. They're fun to have a couple beers with. They're all like they're just good dudes. Like Colt, Mark, like they're all Marty. Like those are all good dudes. And like Brooks even brought me around. He's like, all right, man, you'll like these guys. They're like pretty down to earth. He even said the same about you. So I think that's huge for team culture and chemistry.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk a bit about the team chemistry you guys have had this year and last year?
Yeah. As team chemistry wise, like all the boys on the team are pretty close.
Yeah.
There's a lot of switching around going on. Like me going to right side, Nick Glynn, who was a left side, turned to lib, turned to, in order to kind of keep a winning mentality with all those pieces moving around, it's tough, right? Because I remember when Glenn first started setting, every set, you had to tell him, you had to say something higher, faster, lower. It was 2 outside, it was 2 inside, it was just constant. But once you get to know someone like that, it's not, it stays on the floor, right? Not like I'm gonna go out and still be pissed that we were getting mad at each other that the ball wasn't there, that he would give me a good set and I'd botch it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important too with like personal egos, but everybody wants to win. So that's just
Leaving it on
everybody
the floor.
Yeah, everybody helping each other get better, and like, yeah, just leave that stuff on the floor.
I think, Connor, you could probably agree. Just like one thing that and Robbie, I do remember introducing both you guys, like when I'd first start bringing you guys around, like my boys from UMB, and just knowing that we were all going to get along just fine. One thing I've always said, and even T like got a bit of an opportunity to kind of see, because he played for UMB, but then he did that redshirt season at Dal, and he did say like it's not even that their team didn't get along or anything like that, but just our off court relationships and friendships, like it was so much tighter. Like everything we were doing was together. It was, we're still living this student life, but always as a group. And I always say we were the coolest team in the CIS/U Sport every single year. I don't care what anyone says. Men's volleyball, there is no cooler group of guys than UMB volleyball. I think you can agree, Connor.
Oh yeah, I'd agree to that. Yeah, the boys are really close.
So, Connor, you're entering your 5th year now. This is kind of like it's going to be a different season. No one really knows what it looks like. It might be a training till January, competing after. It might be a no season. How would you feel if it was just January gameplay started?
As long as we get to play out the season, as long as we get to compete and have a chance to win championship and go to nationals, everything's fine with me. I mean, it'd be a different look for sure. Like our season's already super long, right? Starting in September and ending in April? March?
Yeah, mid-March.
So, even then, like if it's even a shorter season with more games, because we sometimes, even with this regular season, we have spans of like, especially in our league with us, Dal, Sherbrooke, Laval, and Montreal, like we play like 1 game or 2 games like every month and a half, like at the start, and that's a long time not competing. So even if the seasons get a bit shorter, that's increases the gameplay. It keeps all the boys really locked in, a bit less time to kind of wander off. You got to keep training. It's more consistent.
Yeah, honestly,
as long as we get to play, even if there's no fans and we get to play out the season, just as long as I get to finish my last year. I wanted to mention, boys, did you guys know that I've been injured the first half of my first 3 seasons at UMB?
I'll mention that in my little clip that's going to go on IG.
Torn
a short season would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ready for the short season.
First year, second year, blew my thumb off. Third year, ankle.
Yeah, I do remember that actually.
What are you going to do after university?
After university, I'm gonna try to go play overseas for sure. I'm gonna explore my options out there. Even if, the goal is definitely to go play overseas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good call.
Yeah.
Brooks, you want to give a little input?
Yeah, I guess just before we kind of finish things off, I'll just say a few things. I've been trying to keep as quiet as I can. It's tough, you know how I am, but normally we don't have the guests on when I'm there, so I could just kind of blab.
And we're trying to keep the episodes to like 35, 45 minutes.
Non-Brooks slang. Yeah.
Straight to the point.
But no, just a few things I want to say, just to kind of about Connor, and even for him to hear, is that he is someone who, like, over my years of playing for UMB, when I was done, and even just a little bit before, there's a few players that come to mind that that were those real special players who, like, there's been tons of great players come in, but a lot of those players didn't necessarily have the careers that they would have liked. And Connor's one of those few that he had that hype, and he, like, 37 kills. We just said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like LeBron James. He goes into the NBA with all that hype, and he was even better than what people would have thought. You know what I mean? So Connor, I do respect Connor for that, because I know when you go in, especially staying in Fredericton, it's a big volleyball community, and the expectation can be quite high, especially when you're that young stud, and you've continued to perform. And the thing that I respect the most about Connor's game is just how hard he works. And I don't think people fully understand it. Like, Connor's someone who, he likes to have a good time, and, he'll be out with the boys just like everybody else, but he's getting up at 6:37 and still going and doing his workout and going serving balls. And like, I'm not doing that, and not many do. And, Connor's the type of guy who will set up the serving machine by himself and go pass a couple balls. And, you always need to have that balance between life and volleyball. And I think he's probably the best that I've seen at finding that perfect balance. Like,
and that's what
I've
makes
seen
a special
guys,
player.
Yeah, like I've seen guys that have put in that same amount of work, but they weren't necessarily as happy and still able to live their life like he was. And then I've also seen guys semi like myself who they put that work to the side and they're too concerned about life. So that's one thing. And another thing too, I'd say with Connor, is that the conference isn't what it was when I was playing volleyball in university. Like, these guys now have to play Montreal, Laval, and Sherbrooke like we did, but that's who they're competing against to make nationals. And I think if there's anyone to lead a team to UMB's first championship in that new conference, this is our guy. So
100%.
Next year.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
I usually don't talk about stuff like that. I feel like I'm pretty humble about playing and training and stuff, but like, summers, it's hard to find people, to actually come out and put in the work.
Right.
Mornings, like, I remember some summers I had to force my dad to come out and shoot balls out of the Globus. So I
remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Like, just things like that, that end up making a big difference in your game. And I really realized that probably going into my second year. I probably had the biggest gains in my second year. My spike touch was 11.8, 11.7.5. That's
huge.
Right now.
That's massive.
That's huge.
Just putting the work, really, it shows in season. Putting the work throughout the summer really shows in season. And even here with all this COVID stuff going on, I'm still out here sometimes going out 2 a days, working out twice a day. It's but I'm usually humble in this kind of stuff, and I don't really talk about it. I try to make it show more than talk about it.
That's why we're here to hype you up.
Yeah.
That was why I had to.
We say Mr.37, but like, it wasn't a surprise. He would go like to doubleheader weekends and get like 35 points, 33. So he was out here eating all year, so it was nothing new or not surprising. And the work I noticed Connor do was last summer when we were all staying at UMB for provincial team.
Yeah.
He'd get up, go in, do a workout, set up a net, and then like we'd be waking up and then coaching all day. He's like, oh yeah, I already got a workout in.
He's already done.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go back and serve later. And it's like, gee, holy smokes, man. Like, but yeah, you can really see how the work pays off. And that's why we're here to gas you up, hype you up, because you are someone who is humble. I was on the phone with Brooks. He goes, man, go to UMB's website. And he goes, okay, now go down to the Sherbrooke range. And he's like, okay, go to see how many kills Connor has. And there was some explicits. I was like, holy. And I was like, man, that's incredible from someone who is humble. And like to talk to him, you wouldn't think he's one of the UMB goats, but.
It's been great having you on our podcast. Like,
man.
It's great to hear from you. Great volleyball player, great mindset. So,
thanks, Connor.
Thank you.
Who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Black cars, black on black bras. Whole lot of money in a black bag, black strap, you know what that's for.
Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Yeah, who gon' stop me? Snow breaks, I need State Farm. So many watches, I need 8 arms. One neck, but got 8 charms. Who gon' stop me, huh?
Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Black cars, black on black bras. Whole lot of money in a black bag, Black strap, you know what that's for.